What would happen if the most powerful figure in Iran suddenly vanished? Well, we've got our hands on a source document that games out that exact high-stakes scenario. It lays out a hypothetical event that could throw the entire Middle East into chaos. So, let's dive in and break down what it claims would happen step by step.
Okay, so let's be super clear. Everything we're about to talk about comes from one single source, and its central premise is, well, it's a bombshell: the sudden death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. This single event is presented as the first domino to fall. So let's trace the chain reaction it claims would follow.
So, where does it all begin? Well, every crisis has a trigger, and according to this source, this one kicks off with a single, violent act: the assassination of the supreme leader. Let's get into the details of how this is alleged to have gone down.
The source claims the strike was, incredibly precise and absolutely devastating. It didn't just target Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, but members of his family too. And then it makes this just explosive accusation, pointing the finger at a joint U.S.-Israeli operation. Now, it's so important to remember, this is the specific claim made inside the document we're analyzing. We're reporting what the source says.
So the leader is gone. What happens next? How does the state even begin to respond? Well, the document we're looking at lays out this kind of two-pronged strategy. On one hand, you've got this very public, very carefully orchestrated mourning. But behind the curtain, oh yeah, there are immediate threats of war.
First up, the official, public-facing response. They declare 40 days of national mourning. Now 40, that's not just some random number. It's a really culturally significant period of grieving in the region. The whole point is to project this image of a nation that's totally unified in its sorrow and respect.
But this mourning period, it goes hand in hand with a serious vow of revenge. The source says Iran promises massive retaliatory attacks. And this, right here, is where the whole scenario just skyrockets. We're not talking about vague threats. The targets are named: American bases across the entire region. This isn't just payback anymore. It's throwing down a direct challenge.
So while Iran is threatening its enemies on the outside, the source argues an even bigger, maybe more dangerous crisis is brewing at home. I mean, think about it. A massive power vacuum has just ripped open, and the huge question becomes, who is brave enough, or maybe ruthless enough, to try and fill it?
And we need to be crystal clear about just how high the stakes are here. The supreme leader, this isn't your average president or prime minister. This is the ultimate authority, the final say on literally everything. We're talking nuclear policy, military action, the economy, you name it. So losing this person doesn't just create a job opening, it basically decapitates the entire power structure.
So who's next in line? The source really lays out two competing paths, and they couldn't be more different. First, you have the son, Martyrdom of Khamenei. Now, this would be a huge deal, a move toward a kind of dynasty, which is something the 1979 Iranian Revolution was explicitly against. The other option is the more traditional route, picking someone from the Assembly of Experts, which is a council of senior clerics. So you see, this isn't just a choice between people. It's really a battle for the soul of the Islamic Republic itself.
Okay, so let's recap. You've got threats of all-out war with foreign powers and a vicious internal power struggle. According to this document, that is just a toxic mix that's impossible to contain. The crisis, it predicts, is about to boil over Iran's borders and basically set the entire region on fire.
We've walked through the whole chain reaction, right? The strike, the threats of retaliation, the scramble for power. So where does this all end up? What's the final, terrifying warning that this source is trying to give us?
The document's conclusion is, well, it's chillingly direct. It just flat out states, these events will likely trigger a catastrophic conflict across the Middle East. So in this scenario, the assassination, that's not the end of the story. It's just the opening scene of a much larger, much more terrifying drama.
And really, that's the core argument of this entire document, isn't it? It's all about a domino effect. One targeted strike doesn't just take out a single leader. It ignites a regional firestorm, dragging rival powers into a conflict that could be absolutely devastating.
Ultimately, the source leaves us grappling with this really unsettling question, one that gets at the heart of how fragile things can be. When one leader falls, is it possible for an entire region to fall with them?